Devo Jones with the pick six, Keanu O'Neal with the hard hit, getting the ball back on offense. Watch Julio Jones keep moving the sticks. Calvin Ridley in for the score. We came back, we up 4, about to get in. Our victory stance, no coming back. We closing the door. ATL blackout. ATL blackout.
What's going on, football fans? We are live on a Saturday, on a Halloween Saturday, celebrating yet another victory. But before we get into that, Jimmy, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Pound for Pound ATL? It's your boy Jimbo Dean, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jimmy O. Bum. You can call me any one of those you want. But please do not call me no damn New Orleans Saints fan. Pound for Pound ATL, another win. What's up, fellas? What's up, chat? What's going on, Mike? What's happening?
Hey, man. Happy Halloween, Pound for Pound family. Another win, man. A win. Listen, let's take a little bit of time to enjoy Halloween right now. The Falcons have already played on a Thursday. They've already gotten a win. We don't have to stress about the Falcons game tomorrow. We don't have to stress about will we win, will we lose. We've already got the win out of the way, so we get to focus on Halloween a little bit. So, hey, man, I'm glad to be able to talk about a win. Like I said, we love these guys, win or lose. So, like I said, anytime we get to talk about a win, it's a good day. So, talk to him, Big JR.
Yeah, hey, well, JR, you ain't got to worry about your blood pressure tomorrow.
No, I can actually, relax and
that's right.
Watch some football without worrying about my heart trying to explode. But no, this was a good win. The thing that struck me is it's never easy to go on the road and win in the NFL. And it's definitely not easy to go on the road and win in the NFL on a short week.
Right.
Like generally speaking, Thursday night games, the home team wins. Yeah. And to go up there and put a decent performance together. Now, you could take the aspect that, this is, Matt Rule. He ain't used to coaching in the NFL. He may not be used to coaching on a short week like this and trying to get his guys prepared, what have you. Regardless of whatever you think your excuse is, this team actually went up there and put together a decent performance. I mean, the defense itself, dare to say, won the game for you.
Dare to say it now.
I mean, that's something in and of itself. This is probably one of the better performances. Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely the best performance that the defense has put together all season. So I was very much happy to see that. And the fact that the game ended on a pick. Like, when's the last time that's happened?
Yep.
I mean,
definitely Halloween.
Yeah, you definitely can't sit here and tell me that
that's spooky.
Spooky, yeah, exactly. Now, you definitely can't sit here and tell me that when Carolina got the ball back, in the fourth quarter, that we were like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. And again, they went into that like almost prevent defense that everybody loves to hate and started giving up, chunks of plays. And I was like, crap. Yeah. It's like, here we go. But to be able to bring the pressure that they brought to cause that errant throw from Bridgewater and then to be able to finish it with a pick, those were things that were great to see. Even if we hadn't been able to close out games like that this year or past few years, it was nice to see them close the game out such as that. So what was y'all's takeaways from this game?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I saw a bit of a UFO out there. And for me, that was an identified flying Oliver moment out there. I saw Isaiah Oliver tackle a man down to the ground. I saw Isaiah Oliver bat a ball down. I saw Isaiah Oliver quietly, potentially have played one of his best games as a pro. So I think, to your point, the defense is why we got this win. Now, true enough, we saw some decent things. We saw some spurts from the offense. I thought Julio did some really good things on a short week. I thought Matt Ryan showed his better than anticipated athleticism on
Matty Wheels
on that touchdown run, right? So, and I think one of the best things is looking at some of the injuries. I saw Calvin Ridley, he injured himself a little bit, so it doesn't look like his injury is going to be too serious. So we kind of got out of the game a bit. You know, we got unscathed. You know, a little bit unscathed. You know, we got banged up a little bit. So, you know, just got a little extra time to rest up.
Right.
But again, this, you know, the team looked pretty functional. I would say that's probably the most complete game I've seen the Falcons play this year, and it showed why we gripe every week with the potential and the talent and how our talent should be better than the opposing team every week.
Yeah.
So it's just another example of that. So
that's right. That's right.
What I got out of just finishing, they finally really truly finished the game, and that's good to see. That's refreshing to see. We need to see that as a fan base. And let's just give a shout out to that offensive line. Continue to be. Now, it was some here and there where, you know, like, what are you doing? But majority of the time, the pocket for Matt Ryan was pretty clean. And I mean, I got to give it to that offensive line. They are starting to just hit their stride and stand steady. And it's gonna be very interesting to see what we do the rest of the season with that offensive line stalemating and starting to get steady, and that defense starting to finish games. It's gonna be interesting to see how the Atlanta Falcons finish up the rest of the season, JR.
No, I completely and utterly agree with you there, Jimmy. One of the keys that I've been enjoying is the fact that the young offensive linemen are starting to really show why you picked them in the first round.
Yes, sir.
You know, you had that on Todd Gurley's touchdown run. The play by McGarry is what really, you know, sprung that touchdown. Like, he come around the corner, and I don't know, y'all may have saw the breakdown that former offensive lineman Schwartz did on Twitter. You know, so I'm not sitting here trying to claim like I saw it or whatever, but, you know, he come around that corner and tripped on the defensive lineman, but was still able to keep his balance enough to affect the play and get the defensive lineman out of the way for Todd Gurley to be able to score that touchdown. And so the progression of both Lindstrom and McGarry are really starting to pay dividends. And the fact that James Carpenter has solidified that left guard position, which I saw something I noted for, I think, at least since Quinn's been fired, I don't think I've seen any rotation of Hennessy at all. You know, it's been Carpenter, right, and that's a plus and a bonus there. So I'm glad you brought up the defensive line, or not defensive line, offensive line, because that was something I wanted to touch on. But let's go ahead and jump into chat here for just a minute.
What's going on, chat? What's going on?
Bug says, hi, guys. What's going on, Bug? We got Duncan the Delinquent says the defense has had its best game of the season. I agree with that, Duncan. You know, that's something we were definitely talking about.
That's right.
GA Hype Nova says Victory Hollows Day. I like that. We can handle that. Yeah, I'm in my Halloween spirit with my Jack Skellington hat going on here. Hey, you know, I got this hat because of my little girl. She found Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm not much of a Halloween guy, but she wanted to be Sally and told me I had to be Jack. So I had to give me a hat. You know what I'm saying?
Good movie.
That's right. Jaden says, "What's up, y'all? What's going on, Jaden?" We got a hello from him. Speed Falcon for life. Going on, Speed. Let's see. Let's go here. Speed Falcon says 9-7. Hopefully, we'll see. I mean, you got to speak on that part. You got Tampa Bay twice, New Orleans twice, and the Chiefs still left on the schedule. So it's gonna be tough. But I'm gonna be interested to see. You know, like you said, I'm gonna be interested to see how they hang it up.
It's gonna get interesting here. It's gonna get real interesting.
Chris Crash Bash says I was shaking of my boots when the defense was on the field. Yeah, in that fourth quarter, I think we all were.
That's every game.
That's right.
Yeah, we traumatized.
Falcon fan extraordinaire says this is why I don't want to hear anything about tanking. This team is pretty good when they can put it all together. Well, that's the thing, you know.
Right.
But can we get the consistency? That's the deal.
That's what we want.
GA Hypernova says the first victory with Ryan not throwing any touchdowns since 2015's 5 interception game. Huh. I didn't realize that. So now, if that is like, I don't have no fact checkers on the staff, so if that's the case, then that's pretty slick. Yeah, I realized that it's been quite a while since we've won a game since without Ryan throwing a touchdown. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Speed Falcon says Dirk Cutter still isn't being creative. Yeah, I know. Don't. Yeah, he comes in spurts with him. I think like he loses maybe like mental stability and then gets a little creative, and then his stability comes back and he goes back to being Mr. Vanilla Man. Toby D's in here. So he said, man, Ryan loves to rush for a touchdown on the Panthers. He does that. I'm glad you're in here with us, Toby. We appreciate you.
What's up, Toby? What's going on, baby? Much love.
Right.
Big dog. Good to see you, Toby.
Duncan says Bleedy Ray needs to play cornerback number 2. It's going to be really interesting with Bleedy Ray, and from what I understand, DeQuez Denard is getting real close to coming back. So the thing that was a area of weakness might become an area of at least stability, which would be interesting, hopefully.
Yeah, it's especially if you keep Isaiah Oliver where you at, that diamond nickel. That might be that might be his natural spot, man. Watch out.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, at least if it's a thing where maybe the moment is too big for him sometimes, I don't know. So maybe limiting his reps during the game might let him not overthink it so much, I guess. Wound Carter says, rise up, pound for pound family. Great win Thursday. We need to get better in the red zone. Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, we were 2 for 6 in the red zone? Man, kicking a lot of field goals. I mean, I like Younghoe Koo, but Younghoe Koo ain't no Matt Bryant. And I'm not trying to rely on Younghoe Koo as much as we're having to right now. And but this goes back to what they were saying earlier about Dirk Cutter. And I think you've seen what this offense is capable of, or what it's going to be. Sometimes you're going to have 40-point explosions, but for the most part, I think it's 3 to 4 touchdowns is what you're looking at on a regular basis. 21 to 28 points.
Yep. It get you a lot of yards too, a whole lot of yards.
A whole lot of yards.
Get you that. Yeah, he's gonna get you to the red zone. As you see, how Julio had 137 yards, but that was it, And the yards really don't matter if you can't score,
Exactly.
That is definitely the thing. Now, something I didn't notice, but as much crap as I want to give Dirk Cutter about his run game, and I will continue to give Dirk Cutter crap about his run game. Todd Gurley has 8 rushing touchdowns on the seat. Did anybody else realize Todd Gurley had 8 rushing touchdowns?
They just keep going up, JR, every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Todd Gurley is like worth the money that he's going to be asking for. But if he would take about half of that, I would bring him in just to be my red zone back.
Telling you now.
But you know what? It's interesting you say that, because you look at Todd Gurley. Yeah, he's top of the league in carries. He's top of the league in yards. He's top of the league in touchdowns. But it's the yards per carry that's low. Like, he's like 24th in yards per carry. So I think what happens is we see a lot of these 4-yard runs, 3-yard runs, 2-yard runs, these tough runs, because we really haven't seen a lot of runs where he's really broke it. I think he's used his stiff arm. His stiff arm seems to be his favorite move. It's like once he can stiff arm a guy and get to the edge a little bit, he might be able to break it for 10 yards, 12 yards here. But I think the tail of the tape for me is in his yards per carry. And like I said, I think it will continue to get Todd Gurley paid. But as we look at our Falcon strategy, we start talking about next year. Once we get to that point, you ask yourself, it's like, could Brian Hill still get that same yards per carry load, or is Brian Hill a little bit better yards per carry, which is what we actually need, instead of, hey, we're top of the league and I'm top of the league in carries, I'm top of the league in touchdowns, which is great, but it's just like the Matt Ryan stats of he's top in the league in passing, but again, next to Joe Burrow, he's having to throw the ball more than any other quarterback in the league. So I think it is a little bit misleading that he is at the top of the league. I think for him, it's good for him. It's good for his career. But again, a little bit misleading when we just look at, some of our shortcomings this year as Falcons fans. So
right now, I tend to agree with you there, Mike, because as much as I love to quote stats, it's one of the few things that I have to be able to tell the story, so to speak. But you can like stats can be skewed, right? They don't tell the whole story. That's why you do have to watch the game yourself. And like I said, it doesn't tell the entire thing, because it is a deal where you watch Gurley play, and in between the 20s, he seems like an okay back. Right. But it's something about when you get him close to the red zone, it's almost like a flip gets switched, and he's just super hungry for a touchdown because he wants that glory, so to speak, that comes with scoring touchdowns that everybody wants. But yeah, it's something that's going to get him paid. But I said at the end of last season, before we signed him, that I was totally okay with running with Brian Hill, Ito Smith, and Quadre Olison. Yeah. Because I think those guys could give you what a Todd Gurley gives you.
Right. They got a little more burn going into but once they got a little more burn in the middle of the field getting to the red zone. But once we got to the red zone, you see we put Gurley in there. And they had Gurley on the pitch count. He was a little banged up, and they had him on the pitch count. But as soon as we got in the red zone, they put him in there.
Yeah, I noticed that. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Okay.
I wondered. You know what? I absolutely wondered when this was gonna happen. Right?
Yeah.
We do this like ain't none of us in the same room, right? We're streaming all this, and for the most part, we do a real good job of not running over each other. But I think that's the first time that we've attempted to run over each other. All right, so I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, then you'll say. But somebody I saw a tweet come out like asking if Todd Gurley had gotten benched, right? Because they were using Brian Hill early on. But I think it's like what you said. They had him on a pitch count because it was a short week. Yeah, you went from Sunday to Thursday, so. If you're going to wear anybody out at this point, you might as well wear out Brian Hill. Fresher legs, doesn't have the arthritis. You don't have to worry about, potentially running him into the ground and losing him for a couple games. So in that aspect, I'll give the coaching staff credit. It was smarter to give Brian Hill more of the action. Now, somebody needs to give Brian Hill a jugs machine. I would appreciate that.
That's for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely not here to receive out of the backfield because my God, and it's been since he first got into the league as well. But I think the point I was going to make earlier is one thing that I do notice if I want to come to Todd Gurley's defense just for a little bit is I notice when Todd Gurley runs behind Jake Matthews, he's not really getting a lot of penetration. I've noticed quietly, I would say that Jake Matthews has kind of struggled a little bit in critical situations because if you notice a lot, I think Brian Burns and I can't think of the other pass rusher for the Panthers. Jake Matthews looked like he had his hands full a little bit, and it's kind of surprising because it's like, Lindstrom and McGarry have played so well. I will say this though. I will say it seems like Matthews is struggling with a lot of these, faster pass rushers, which he traditionally has. But I noticed for whatever reason when they're running outside zone towards Jake Matthews' side. It just seems like he doesn't get the same, just burst or opportunities to break through the holes as he does with Lindstrom and McGarry. So, that is something that we do need to monitor as well. Again, as we look forward and all that kind of stuff, it is, that left tackle position. I think we're okay there, but is that something down the road that we need to start looking at and start grooming a backup that way? Because we really have not had to talk about that position for 6 or 7 years, long time
since he's been drafted, right? I mean, like Jake Matthews isn't a perennial Pro Bowler, but he should probably have more Pro Bowls than he does. I think he is a above average left tackle. And he is no like Tyrone Smith or any of like Jason Peters. He's not on that level, but he is much better at pass blocking than he is run blocking, unless it's a run blocking that requires him to get up to the second level. He's a very athletic left tackle when it comes to that, but he has struggled a little bit this year. But I can't. I wish I knew why, But all right. So Jaden says he is making a statement that wants to lead me into our next point that I want to bring up. He says we need to keep blitzing. I saw a lot more blitzing in this game than I have seen in quite a while, from these Atlanta Falcons. Some more blitzing that I was actually doing film study in the offseason that I was expecting to see out of these Falcons.
Yeah.
A lot more Agap blitzing with, Deion Jones even had a sack in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was interesting, saw blitzing Keanu Neal. And if I'm not mistaken, was it Isaiah Oliver coming on a blitz as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we, yeah.
So, that's something I read an article, and I never really did get around to making the video, but there's an article because we were talking about analytics and stats and stuff like that earlier that says there really is no downside to blitzing almost every play. Conventional wisdom says, if you blitz too much, you're going to start getting, eaten alive by it. But like the numbers bear out that you're far more likely to affect the quarterback blitzing than not blitzing.
Yeah.
So you might as well just blitz because the best way to mess up an offense is to affect the quarterback.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to get y'all's idea or y'all's opinions if y'all were seeing some of the same things as I was as far as enjoying watching, Deion Jones coming in through that A-gap blitz.
I had a theory on that.
Yeah, what you got?
And it goes to AJ Terrell. And majority of the time, I put out the tweet, majority of the time he was playing man coverage, right? And when you play man coverage, you can blitz. It's simply solely off. That's a free extra man, right? You don't have to sit in no zone. That's your man all over the field. You can blitz more. So what I got out of this game is AJ Terrell was handed the man-to-man keys. He was finally handed those keys, and I think he was happy. I think that's what he wanted to do. So now that you got one man taken out of the picture and one man holding down one side of the field, you can blitz way more. You can almost blitz every down now if you want to. You can blitz for the run and the pass and the screen. I mean, you can have your way once you got a true man corner. So my theory I got out of this, Raheem Morris finally said, okay, we finna play man. This soft zone stuff ain't really getting us nowhere. So y'all just finna have to man up. It's just on y'all. It's just time to grow up, right? So he told AJ Terrell, look here, this week you grow up. We finna blitz mode. You got man, point blank period. Let's go out and win a ball game, blitzing the heck out of this quarterback. And that's what they did. And which was a good idea because you can't hold AJ Terrell back for too long. It's only so much longer you just can put him in soft zone. And the rest of the secondary is only so much longer you can avoid playing man. You got to play man to win in the NFL. It's just no way around it. And he went on and handed the keys to Ricky. I'm glad he did. And we blitzed and we took care of business. What's your thoughts on those blitzes, Big Mike?
Well, I mean, my thing is the blitzes. It touches on my next point, and I'll make a bold statement because I think that we are slowly starting to evolve our Luke Kuechly, our Thomas Davis, and Foy Oluokun and Deion Jones because the blitzes come from those guys, and I'm willing to think that within the next year or two that Foy Oluokun can become a Pro Bowl linebacker because I've seen him not only grow. Because here was the thing, what we always talked about Foy was he was a smart player. You tell him something one time, he's got it. He's a good linebacker from that standpoint. So we always knew the mental side was there, but the physical side showing up with a guy that is mentally smart. I think that he is a linebacker that won't put you in positions to lose you the game. He's always in the right position, right? And I think that one particular play stood out to me, which is when Teddy Bridgewater, it was fourth down. Teddy Bridgewater was running for the first down out on the edge, and Foy Oluokun ran like step for step with him.
Right.
And stopped him, right? So I think ultimately those are not only things that, like, not only is the blitzing good to see, blitzing the Foy Oluokun, blitzing the Deion Jones, putting these guys in coverage. It, to me, is giving these linebackers a mentality that they are turning into, and this is the first time I can truly say that these guys are really turning into complete linebackers. Because let's be honest, before this year, I would say we always associated Debo as a coverage linebacker, one of the best coverage linebackers in the game. But I think with Ulbrich and with Raheem Morrison, what we've been able to see the last couple of, just the last couple of weeks and leading up to this year is that they're allowing these guys to become complete football players. A complete linebackers, complete football players, similar to, like I said, Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright. I'm not saying that they're at that talent level, but you need linebackers that are that smart, that are that close to the hip, that you want your linebackers playing like that, and you can build a defense around it. So I'm liking what I'm seeing about there now, and I just want to see how that continues to move forward as the weeks move on.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
for sure. And to me, it's no surprise that Foye is starting to grow and show more confidence as he's getting settled into a starting role. I mean, this is his first year being, a full-time starter, with Devondre Campbell out there in Arizona. He stepped into a, starting linebacker role. So it didn't surprise me that it's taken a little bit for him to start to come into his own. And I like what I have seen so far out of Michael Walker. I'm really excited to see what he will develop more into. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I figured I would have seen him on more blitzes than Deion Jones just because of his background in college. But they may not necessarily fully trust the rookie yet to send him on blitzes like that. But let's see where's that comment I wanted to read. Okay, here it is. It's Drake Lindley says, "I'd rather blitz than sit back and still get burned. You see what happened on 3rd and 17. As soon as we went to the soft, we gave up a big play."
That's
right.
Did.
I'm not a huge fan of the, sitting back and trying to keep everything in front of you. That's something that, to me, just ends up getting you, getting you killed, in a sense. But what I'm enjoying to see is I feel like I'm really starting to see more of Raheem Morris's influences and touches being put on this defense, right? As far as, more of the linebacker blitzes, playing more man. I think it's taking a little bit of time, but you're slowly starting to strip away the things that Dan Quinn held fast to.
Yeah.
Right.
That it seems like the other coaches wanted to get away from, but maybe couldn't,
Right.
See, Georgia Hypernova says, watching them blitz was so satisfying and exudes personality, unlike the former defense that seemed more like a simulation. Like the defensive philosophy that we had under Quinn the last few years definitely was all bark, no bite in a sense. It was a defense that people had definitely figured out, and Quinn had showed no way of being able to recover from. Woon Carter wants to know what's going on with Ricardo Allen. I think he's out of talent.
In his footwork, his technique is terrible. I'm going to go ahead and say that. On that flea flicker play, and I said this on that live Twitter right after the game. Shout out to people that tuned in.
Yeah.
His technique it really wasn't there. He almost just because he was smart, he almost looked like he was in position most of the time because he kind of knew the play because of his mind. But now when it comes to show his physical ability and his technique, it's terrible. On that flea flicker, he seen it develop. He seen it coming. But when it was time to actually use technique and physicality, he killed himself. He rounded himself off. He rounded off to the ball, which put him behind the receiver and came back in front of the receiver, and he still tipped the ball. So what's going on with Ricardo Allen is his technique. He's starting to get a little older, coming off that injury. He really never really had technique, but now his lack of technique is really starting to show, and that comes from what we say on this show all the time. That's what happens when you convert a corner to safety. There you go.
That's right. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping that whoever our next free safety is, because I don't think Ricardo Allen will be back next year, I hope that whoever our free safety is an actual free safety, not a converted free safety. Because, I mean, to me, Ricardo Allen is having happened to him what happened to Ryan Schrader. Something I brought up in a previous show. Ryan Schrader, undrafted guy, played out of his mind for a few years. But, he's really down here, when we need somebody up here. Right. Same deal with Ricardo Allen. Before his injuries, like he was able to, for the most part, hold his own. His mind was able to overcome, his physical abilities. But once those physical abilities start to diminish, which they tend to do on players who don't have as much talent, they tend to start diminishing faster. Then it starts to show up, especially in a position like free safety, Let's see. William says, ATL blackout, what's good? What's going on, William? Glad you decided to show up here with us. He also said, Ricardo Allen is not being here next year. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he'll be.
No. And pound for pound family, just start referring to him as Coach Ricardo Allen.
Yes, right. Because I don't think he'll be anywhere else either.
That's right. I think, yeah. So, I see the transition.
There you go. Let's see. What else we got here? Okay, Chris Crash Bash was asking about Jalen Hawkins. Now, Jalen Hawkins, is he out with, I'm trying to remember, he's not on the COVID list. So was he out with a concussion? Yeah. Was that what happened to him?
Yeah, he got a nasty concussion against the Green Bay Packers. And I think, Jalen Hawkins is a bit of a oddball because, I was a little bit puzzled earlier in the season as to why we didn't see more Jalen Hawkins in coverage and putting Keanu Neal more in the box because I would say that, the thing I liked about Jalen Hawkins is his size, right? Because we need size. We need two things in the secondary. We need size and we need physicality, right?
That's right.
He brought both of those kind of from the jump. So it was a little bit curious. And maybe, as a rookie, it's kind of hard to figure out why a rookie can't come into the secondary, immediately, as we kind of talked about last week, the Antoine Winfield for the Bucks. Every now and then you just strike gold, right? Yeah. But, ultimately, he was the son of an NFL guy. He was trained well. The Bucks had a good pick there. For us, we haven't. That's another place where we really, outside of Keanu Neal, we haven't drafted anybody organic. Pass rush, free safety. We have not drafted a free safety who has been able to, like I said, pay dividends for us. So hopefully, as we continue to go and move forward in this season, we'll see Jalen Hawkins a little bit more. But I think this year you'll continue to see him be kind of that special team stalwart. And, if we're in a pinch, Keanu Neal gets hurt, somebody like that, then we'll see him kind of finish out the season. But this is, with Keanu Neal, the way they're playing Keanu Neal, and actually, let's talk about Kiki as well. Let's not we gotta touch on Kiki as well. When we talk about Hawkins, I also thought that Keanu Neal, since Dan Quinn has left, even though he was one of the people that was the most upset that Dan Quinn left, it seems like the wings have gotten free on that bird a little bit, right? And we're starting to see him, step up, fill the hole, play physical, play mean, and just play like a guy that is a lunch pail football player, which is the guy we drafted out of Florida. So just stay tuned on Jalen Hawkins. Go back to that.
Right, but I mean, it could be, as far as Kiki is concerned, it could be a thing where, maybe he views it as his safety net is gone. With Dan Quinn being out the building now, not that he wasn't trying to prove it before, but sometimes that can be a wake up call, right?
Right.
Let's see here. Jolt Gaming 9 says, "Hey guys, I finally catch you guys. Real fan of y'all. He says we are his penicillin for his Falcons."
Ooh, penicillin.
Hey man, don't give me none of that stuff. That's put me in the hospital. Anyway.
But thank you, though.
Yeah, right. We're glad that you finally able to catch us up, catch us live as well. Let's see. Vlad says somebody like a Justin Simmons would be nice, but I doubt we could afford him. Now, I'm not familiar with Justin Simmons.
I live out here in Colorado. He played for the Denver Broncos.
Okay. That's who I think it is. Okay, that's what I was going to say.
They got him on the franchise tag. They ain't re-signed him, but his stock is slowly starting to drop. So he might fall into something like a contract we giving Rico Allen right now, but a little less. But his stock is starting to drop real bad right now. He might be on the market next year.
Okay, all right. Well, that'd be something to keep an eye on. But now, as we've been talking about,
he ain't been playing too well, so I don't know about that.
Okay, well, if it's dropping, then maybe we don't want him.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But the what I was going to say is, like, as we've been saying, and we will continue to say throughout the season, it'll be interesting to see what they can even pull off as far as signing free agents at all next year.
There you go.
There's rumors going around that they're trying to trade Tack McKinley, but ain't nobody taking them up on those offers.
Nope.
Because I mean, you're renting a player for a half a season, and you're renting a player that's injury prone. So
and it's got to be a culture fit, because a guy like Tack, sometimes you really have to assess if his mind is really in the football, how hard he really wants to go for that team. And again, he's one of those guys that he has to be a locker room fit to a team that's interested as well. And a lot of the teams that are interested, true enough, are playoff teams, but ultimately there's a hierarchy, and you really can't go in there trying to mess up that hierarchy or that culture. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, now, to be honest with you, I mean, a team like the Chiefs, I never would doubt them, because I think that, unfortunately, that'd be a place where I think he would thrive at, just because they don't really need him, right? He needs to go to a place where they don't really need him.
Yeah.
Here we need him. Our eyes are on Tack. So, I mean, yeah.
That whole deal of him coming in here, like, with that first round grade, that is like such a fickle thing, That is such a fickle thing, and that's why I find it so interesting that people just, can think that we can, just draft this guy and it'll be fine. Just draft this guy and it'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, we're going to do the same thing come draft season, right? We're all going to talk about who we want to draft, but
that's right.
I always try to say with a caveat of, man, you don't know what these guys are going to do when they get here.
Absolutely. Right.
Especially first round guys who get a ton of money but also have a ton of pressure on them. Right. To come in and immediately perform, Yeah. And so, like, right now, I keep chuckling to myself. You got a situation up in Green Bay where they drafted a quarterback in the first round who, that's a lot of money not to even see the field, like, at all, which is, like I said, it's an interesting technique they have up there. Yep. Vlad says Tack's pressure rate is crazy when he's on the field, but he can't stay on the field. That's the thing.
That's my point, right?
At the end of the day, whether they're, whether they were trying to hold him out to try to trade him or whatever, but listing him with groin injuries, it's shoulder, it's groin, it's this, it's that. Like, you're getting, about a half a season each year out of him?
Right.
That's about it.
Right.
That ain't worth, that's not worth a big contract, that's for sure. I expect something along the lines of a 1 year, $9-10 million deal from his next team. Kind of like what Vic got, because he's going to have to go somewhere and prove it.
Yeah, it's going to be a prove it deal, no question about it.
Kalen Pierce says we should trade for Quinnen Williams. I think that his name, I think that's his name. Yeah, Quinnen Williams, and we will be able to afford. And will we be able to afford Calvin Ridley's contract coming? That's going to be interesting.
Ooh,
Calvin
boy.
Ridley. That's something you've been talking about there, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my radar.
To me.
Yeah. Well, I know we're about to do it again. Let me.
No, go ahead.
So no. The thing about it is we have to, because a lot of it is this. You look at it like this. Over the last 3 to 4 years, he's in the same category as Thielen, as Mike Evans, as bona fide receiver ones, with the touchdowns that he's catching. And again, he's not, the way Calvin Ridley plays the game, he really is one of those receivers that he really can be as good as he wants to be. Now, he has to put it together sometimes mentally. Now, that's one thing I will say about Calvin Ridley. Sometimes mentally, he can take himself out of the game, because, he'll play to the refs, so he just can sometimes he can talk himself out of how good he is, right? But when he's dialed in, there's not too many receivers that have the ability that he has. So I think that, that's something that we'll monitor. But with COVID, he may not have the leverage that he's looking for. Now if he, like I said, that's going to go into this offseason. Is going to be one of the most humbling off seasons for the NFL and the players as well. So what goes on between the NFL Players Association with all of this lost revenue from COVID is going to be something to watch. And we can't mention it enough that it's one of those things where it's just going to it's going to stay tuned. And we're going to talk about it every week.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. It's something that has to be talked about, because,
right.
Like you just said, that's an interesting point that you just brought up. He may not have the same kind of leverage that he would have had in years past.
Right.
I know something you had talked about, like as far as, he's a candidate to be kind of a diva and hold out, but he may not be able to, he may not have that kind of leverage to hold out. Like,
yeah,
at some point in time, these guys do have to understand that, they took a big hit this year, and, it may not be business as usual, so to speak, as far as the cap goes. For past 4 or 5 years, the cap has gone up every year.
Yes, sir.
I think this is going to be the first time in a while where it doesn't do that, and that's because they're having to, quote unquote, pay themselves back, so,
that's right.
This offseason is going to be an interesting offseason.
Now we can still franchise him now.
Yeah, I think
a long time, but that's still gonna be a high number.
Oh yeah, it'll be a ridiculous number.
Right.
But no, if he were to try to hold out this year, because I think this is the first year that we could, under the CBA, extend him, because I think you have to be in a season league for 3 years or whatever. So this offseason is the first time that he could get extended. But but yeah, hopefully, his agent or whoever is in his ear saying, "Look, dude, this ain't a normal situation. Just play it out.
He knows.
You'll be better off if you just play it out and get paid. Later on down the line."
Yep.
Let's see. Speed Falcon says, "Would you guys mind keeping Raheem Morris as a full-time HC if we turn around the season around?" I've been saying that from the beginning. If Morris can stabilize this group, I see no reason not to let him, coach going forward, at least the rest of Ryan's career. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all.
So, let's see. So we got Jerry Dandridge Falcons. He says, "Go Falcons, rise up. Go Buckeyes, silver bullets." Ooh. So, hold on. How you be a Falcon? Yeah, Jimmy's over there pointing at that. That's an interesting combination there, Jerry.
But hey, thanks for room for the Falcons, though. But go ahead. Wait up.
That's funny. I threw that comment out there just for you there, Jimmy.
Appreciate that. Well, he know what time it is.
That's right. That's right. William says, "We got to win. Got to win all your games, 10-6 season." Oh man, that's a tall task. If Raheem Morris to keep his job, he says he's got to win out. I don't know. I don't think win out is feasible, to be completely honest.
That's gonna be hard.
I try not to be, very pessimistic. Y'all know me. I try to be optimistic because I believe there's enough pessimism in this world. But to think that, like I said before, to think that you're going to beat Tampa twice, New Orleans twice, and the Chiefs, that just seems like a real tall task. Now, granted, I know that they said it on the stream, and I'll say it here: we're the best looking 2-6 team out there, the most talented 2-6 team out there.
No question.
Easy.
But I don't think that that's feasible. Honestly,
It's gonna be hard.
Let's see. Antoine Wartime Antoine Wartime TV says, it would be the first African American coach to coach the Atlanta Falcons in history. If Raheem Morris would get a job, yes, that would be.
That's fact.
That would be that's a fact. That would be a first. And like I said before, I'll have no problem whatsoever with Raheem Morris staying on as coach if he gets this team to play consistently and not being embarrassing.
And I hate to go there, but regardless of color, I need a coach that will get to the quarterback. I need a coach that wants to take the deep shots. Hey, no matter what it is, he's blitzing, getting to the quarterback right now. He's affecting Teddy Bridgewater. The more we continue to see that, if he keeps the team together continuity wise, and there's enough that we have as a sample size that makes us comfortable with Raheem Morris, let's go with Raheem Morris. But at the end of the day, it's not a color thing or anything. This is who is the best fit for this team, because we are going to require a lot of work, and we got to be smart because we're going into a situation with a new general manager and a new head coach. So regardless of gender, background, all of that kind of stuff, we got to get it right.
That's it.
No matter who the next guy is, it's got to get done right at the general manager level, most importantly, and also at the head coaching level. Because again, man, we got some holes. Like I said, free safety. We got some serious decisions.
Oh
that need
yeah,
to be made.
there's some.
Got some serious. Now he could almost be 3-0 if he would have nailed the ball.
Oh man, come on.
Okay, we got that now, and I don't want to bring up old stuff, but like
Right,
like
but
Mike
that's
just said, we need somebody that's gonna come in here and pull this thing together almost as fast as they can during the COVID-19 and limit over the salary cap. You got to look at all this stuff he's gonna be against whoever they shall be.
That's right.
And Raheem Morris already know it because he's here, so he knows what's coming. Raheem Morris, I say, hell, I did this for y'all, but the Jets just called me because y'all are in this situation. So we can say we'll keep Raheem, and none of us on Pound Fine we won't have no problem with it if he can smooth this thing out. But Raheem Morris might say, look what y'all up against, man. I'm out of here, So it's just still a two-sided coin too as well. Now can't forget about that.
Very much.
That's it. Now let's see. I'm gonna scroll back up a little bit. I was trying to find somebody put up a comment that I wanted to read, and I done lost it. Okay, I think it was Nick. Okay, it says some Falcon fan wants Trevor Lawrence at QB when the defense and the O-line is the issue. If you don't fix the O-line and the defense, we're going to have the same issue with a new QB. Now, I agree there in that aspect. If you don't fix this defense, like you're going to be whoever's quarterbacking is going to be having an uphill battle, right?
Right.
Now, I think the O-line is starting to come together. As far as I think they only gave up 2 sacks yesterday, or not yesterday, on Thursday, and one of them, like you can legit put on Ryan, just hold the ball a little too long. You can put that one on him. So, not every sack is the O-line's fault, right? And not every sack is the quarterback's fault. It's just goes back and forth. Let's see. There it is. Jaya Shireen Wyndham. I probably said that wrong. Key is consistency. They have to play well and finish at the red zone. See, that's always been Cutler's problem. That was his problem when he was here. And, back the first time around, that was his problem in Tampa Bay. Yeah. That is, his problem yet again.
That's
From 20 to 20, he's a decent, OC. But as far as, getting into the end zone, it's just he's not creative enough, in my opinion.
It seemed like once he get to the red zone, everything just come to a halt. He just hit a brick wall.
Yep.
And I'm honestly, look at Pound tell, I'm sick of him. Like we can keep bringing him up. I don't care how we keep bringing him up. And he's 20 to 20 like y'all said. But I'm sick of him. He gotta go, man. And that's just point blank. Period. We can't trying to discuss what he do and what he don't do, and what he ain't bad at or good or nothing. None of that. He gotta go, man. If anybody over in that Falcon organization is watching this live show right now, listen to Jimmy Obama and listen to me very good. Get Dirk Cutter out of the state of Georgia, okay? Please. Thank you very much. JR, back in the chat, because I almost got fired up.
All I'm saying is, like, if I'm Arthur Blank and at the end of the season comes around, you do your interview, your formal interview with Raheem Morris. If he don't say that he wants to replace the OC, then he got to go. Okay.
You know what? Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. But you know what? I'm a little nervous about that, guys, because he said, listen, man, they've given me the reins on this team, but I still draw all of my strength and inspiration from Dan Quinn. Gave me a little nerve. I was a little nervous. I don't draw no strength and inspiration from Dan Quinn. So, hey, no strength and inspiration from Dan Quinn, but also on the flip side, it's like, if he draws some strength and inspiration from Raheem Morris, we might need to talk amongst ourselves as business partners, because it's going to be tough to talk about this team with Dirk Cutter for 4 years.
Greg Knapp is there, okay?
Right.
You can let him go right now if you want. Greg Knapp is there. I know Greg Knapp is there. I looked at it.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Like, that's the thing where when Raheem Morris took over and they fired, Ben Cutler for his, watermelon fiasco, as it has now been dubbed. I was on Twitter minute by minute going, fire Dirk Cutter, fire Dirk Cutter, fire. It didn't happen, and so that leads me to think that, if Raheem Morris were to keep the job, what incentive would he have to fire Dirk Cutter? You
For
know,
sure.
he had the opportunity to do
Yeah,
so.
he did.
You
He
know,
did.
when he took over, because they plainly said that he had, his say. You know, he could do what he wanted to there.
Right.
So
But
that's, that's
when
my
I bring up
reserve.
when I bring up Greg Knapp, I'm speaking from a Matt Ryan standpoint. People are saying if you let Dirk Carter go, what about Matt Ryan? He need to have a consistent OC. Greg Knapp is good enough and been around with Matt Ryan long enough to step up, and we won't lose nothing right there. Come on now.
That's
Go
it.
ahead, JR.
No, you dead right about that. In my opinion, that was something that I was looking for that definitely didn't happen. Let's see here. Jerry, Dan Dridge Falcon, our Ohio Falcon fan,
Ooh.
he said he wants Justin Fields. He has shown growth and let him study behind the Iceman, but I just don't see us tanking yet. You ain't gonna see us tanking. Professionals don't tank.
And I look. Let's just be honest. We don't have the luxury
No.
to let it. We are not the Green Bay Packers. We cannot have an Aaron Rodgers and draft a Jordan Love. We don't have that luxury. We have far too many holes on our defense.
That's right.
To really groom a Justin Fields. Would we love to see a Justin Fields in the Atlanta Falcons uniform? It would be insane. Jersey numbers would be crazy.
Oh, it'd be nuts.
You would have this city would go upside down. You would have people talking about making a statue out of this guy. But it's not a feel good thing. A lot of times with football, it's not about what feels good or the shiny new toy. And again, a lot of times, man, we all want the Mercedes-Benz. We want the nice shiny car, but
Right.
you really need the Honda Civic. Because ultimately, that's what's going to get you to work every day, and that's what's going to keep you out of the auto shop having to pay all of these expensive repairs, right? So I think we're in the same situation. Justin Fields, a very shiny new toy, fast, great arm, sees the field. I mean, from Georgia, but it's just not going to happen. It's not even practical. We got salary cap reasons. We have depth reasons. You have a quarterback who wants to be in Atlanta,
right?
Whatever is going on. So it's Matt Ryan's show. We're going to have to love it, and we're going to have to get around him, and we need to think like that. We need to think free safety. We need to think boundary corner. We need to think
defensive
edge rusher.
That's it.
All big leaky holes that we don't have enough tape to keep duct tape.
No.
Right.
I mean, you got guys, talking about like wanting to see, these defensive players do more, as far as like Michael Walker blitzing more or whatnot, and that's all fine and dandy. But like you said, it without a solid defense, there's things that you're just not going to be able to do. And we got too many holes to be going to grab a luxury pick. Then that's what a first round QB would be. Right. I mean, as much as I like Calvin Ridley, even in that year, I was kind of befuddled that we took a receiver, in the first round. Now he fell to us. I don't think they expected him to be there, and they saw it as a prime opportunity and took it. But I just don't think with everything going on, cap wise, that would almost be like career suicide for a new GM.
So, and actually, to add to that one point, if you think about it like this, what's most practical, DBN, P4P family, is who is our backup quarterback going to be? Who is it that we could draft in the third or fourth round that we could potentially get behind Matt Ryan? Because you already know that you're a play away. I mean, look at the Justin Herbert or whatever. Even though he was a first round guy, having a guy that come in and possibly right the ship, that might be what this transformation that everybody is looking for. That might be what it actually looks like. Everybody thinks it's going to be Trevor Lawrence to come in here and be John Elway and throw passes all over the field, or Justin Fields to come in and do what he has to do from that standpoint. But I think what is most practical is a third round guy, a fourth round guy, just a guy that the Falcons can groom, who might have to be able to go in and throw a couple passes to Preston Duty. Because, let's be honest, man, the way Matt Ryan plays, he's been really durable. But, that's another gap that we don't really talk about. We talk a lot about the defense, free safety corner, all the other stuff. Yeah. But the backup quarterback position, because Matt Schaub is, like I said, he'll be 40 years old
right
the next year or two. So, that's something we need.
Got to give him $4 million next year, too. So.
Oh, my God. We can't. That money got to go somewhere else.
That's right. That money definitely has to go somewhere else. Jeez. I mean, hey, man, you got to, if you can get him to sit down the controller, you got to Ben Kirk. Yeah. Fortnite extraordinaire.
Yeah. PUBG.
or whatever it is he plays.
Whatever it is, whatever he playing.
Whatever these doggone kids are playing. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't trying to be like that.
Right.
But I will say this though. Dante Fowler was looking good in that game. Against Carolina,
man,
got him a sack.
Yes, sir.
We got the news, I think, that came out today or yesterday. I think it may have been yesterday, that you had John Kaminsky come off the COVID-19 list.
Yes, sir. There we go.
And you would hope by Sunday, Marlon Davison would be back in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be interested to see what the full defensive line could look like. With
a good rotation,
right? With a Marlon Davison in there, with a John Kaminsky in there, and maybe that could help, the generate some more pass rush, because Dan Quinn was trying to build a line. I will say this: he was trying to build a line that could get to the quarterback with just the front four, right? That was what he wanted. He wanted your sideline to sideline linebackers. He wanted to be able to get the rush with the front four and the secondary play coverage, right? Which is an ideal, but doesn't always work. Right. That's why you got to blitz.
Right. Exactly.
But it's almost like why he was so against blitzing, because he just felt like the front four should have been able to get to it.
Yeah, he was trying to make it
right. But you got Raheem Morris, who now is more willing to send linebackers, send safeties, send corners, I don't know if it's Raheem Morris or if it's Jeff Ulbrich, but whoever it is,
I think it's Jeff.
Keep doing it, right?
Keep doing
it. I think, and you know what? I think that it's really Jeff Ulbrich finally being handed the keys, because if you look at it like this, right, it's like, Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris, they moved Raheem Morris over to defensive coordinator, and they said, okay, Jeff Ulbrich, you call two plays, I call a play. Like, what does that do for your defense? You got two different defensive coordinators, and it's kind of confusing. And it looks like, okay, Raheem has said, Jeff Ulbrich, all right, put your stamp on this defense. And I think, those, even with the secondary, because don't get me wrong, the secondary has still looked quite garbage at times. I mean, like very laughable at times. But what I noticed is, and again, I don't like the emotional catches when a cornerback is caught on where it's like, man, he almost got there. But I think, that's something to say about Kendall Sheffield. It's like, Kendall Sheffield, true enough, it's not necessarily, he's not struggling as bad as Isaiah Oliver. I'll take some of the exceptions that Kendall Sheffield gives up, because he's fighting tooth and nail for the ball. And there's no blowout. Like, I've yet to see Kendall Sheffield just become, a man is 5 yards ahead of Kendall Sheffield.
Right,
so, that kind of stuff. It's the little stuff, man. I mean, it's subtle.
And then, JR, you were saying the Darquez Leonard, what's the story on him? He will be back this week. I wonder how they're going to do that.
Now, that was something that Raheem Morris, come out and said, I think in the quotes that he had yesterday, was that Darquez Leonard was getting closer to coming back off of IR, which is great. You have a little bit longer of a week this week. I don't know. We'll probably hear more about it like Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know if I expect him back before the bye. But after we play Denver, we go on a bye. So I would really expect that after the bye week, Darquez Leonard would be back, and then you could, really get some more of that experience back out on the field. Maybe at that point, as much as I hate to say it, you could probably set down Isaiah Oliver completely if you wanted to, because then you could roll Denard out there, Bleedy Wreh-Wilson, A.J. Terrell, Kendall Sheffield, whatever mix you wanted in that aspect.
Yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily have to be leaning on Isaiah Oliver, right?
Yeah, and I would love that. I would love to see that scenario, because to be honest with you, if there's one area where I would like to just see Isaiah Oliver primarily used is as another blitzer, because he's got the measurables, 6 feet, 210, corner. He's got safety. He's got a safety body type, right? So if we can use him to blitz every now and then, mix it up, a little bit more dime, like we always talk about big nickel, that kind of stuff. I think that's ideal. That's kind of what we expected when the secondary was at full strength, right? So, I mean, like you said, if we can get Isaiah Oliver kind of off to, we need him if we need him type thing, we at our best. Enough on that guy.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Iron Mike just popped in and said, "I'm just here to remind y'all that Tack still hasn't cut his dreads." Thank you, Iron Mike, for that reminder. That that Tack has still not cut those dreads. That's awesome.
What then he say?
And straight up chuckled, boy. You got me laughing on that one. Anthony Wright just popped in. He said, "Man, I was out and just got in. Missed the podcast pound for pound." Good thing though, Anthony Wright, is that you can catch this. It will be archived. You can go back and watch the whole shenanigans of this week. I know we kind of mixed it up a little bit by coming out on a Saturday, but you know, with the game being on a Thursday, you know, it kind of messes with our formula a little bit. This will probably be the only time this year that we do this, right?
Oh, Anthony been out there getting some candy.
Oh yeah, he must have. What'd you dress up as, Anthony?
All right. Hey, comment below y'all costume. Matter of fact, you know, pound for pound, y'all comment y'all costumes in the live chat. If it's commentable, right? You know?
So I thought about going as the scariest thing on the planet, and that was a Falcons fan.
Boy,
but I didn't want to scare folks. I wasn't trying to make them run for the hills.
Yeah. They would have got on you, man.
Yes, sir.
Vlad says, honestly, I would love for us to look at Micah Parsons. I'm not sure who that is. I know we don't need a linebacker. Okay, he's a linebacker, but dude is good, crazy.
But I can touch on him for a second. Like, I like Micah Parsons out of Penn State because I think that he's one of those versatility guys that we always talk about. You know, can play inside, but primarily would be an outside guy. But I think the thing about a Micah Parsons is he still doesn't strike me as a guy that can get you the 10-plus sack. He doesn't strike me as a 10-plus sack guy. Good football player, strikes me as a guy that would come in and be functional, but not a guy that can step out. You know, he's not a guy that stands out. I would say that what we really need, honestly, we need to continue to tap into the veteran pass rusher market, because it's going to be hard to draft a guy as a rookie and expect him to come in here and make sacks of substance. So I'll be a little bit cautious on Michael Parsons, but you know, good player. You know, I just don't know if he fits ultimately what we're trying to do.
I got you.
Right.
I mean, look, if Dante Fowler can, you know, solidify his play, like and be consistent through the rest of this year, you know, I think he could be a good example to a young pass rusher. Between him and, you know, a couple of the guys that we already have on staff, you know. But as always, man, if we could find the right fit, I am down for it. Jaden says you could go as Isaiah Oliver. Everybody would run away from you. That's rough.
Oh, no, they'll run passes. They wouldn't run away from us. They'll run passes.
That's right. They just keep on going.
That's what he get trying to say.
Oh, man. But anyway, well, gentlemen, we have ran a little bit over an hour. We were able to talk about our Falcons yet again, winning, which is great. For the folks who joined us on a rare Saturday live stream, we appreciate y'all stopping by and joining us. You could check out our coach's show that I'm doing every week. I'm gonna have it come out depending on how it goes. I may drop it Tuesday this week. Don't know if we're gonna do a live stream on Tuesday since there's not a game, so we may just skip this Tuesday and may just put out some standalone videos this week. But we'll definitely be back streaming after the Denver game for sure.
We might have a surprise Wednesday, JR.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We might be dropping some new videos, so y'all just, you know, you always keep an eye on our channel. We're trying to bring y'all the content you want, the content you ask for, the content you need.
I need it in your life.
You don't really need it, but
and it's all our own, and it's all original. It's all our own.
That's it.
We take great pride amongst ourselves of coming up with the topics for y'all that y'all want to hear. It's about y'all. It ain't about us, man. We just vessels.
Yes, that's right. And I love working with y'all guys, by the way, if I ain't told y'all that.
Right.
Hey, I got a shout out though, JR.
Yeah, please do. I was gonna bring that up.
That's right. Shout out to my Brazilian guys, my Brazilian people over there. That's right. We pound for pound is international. We got the international men here. And I'm gonna butcher this name.
No.
But he hit me up on Twitter and he told me to give a shout out to a football team over there in Brazil. Shout out to the Guarina Indians. Guarina Indians. Theodore Cavino. What's up over there in Brazil? Thanks for tuning in to Pound Pound ATL, man. We love it. And y'all season's about to start. The Garena Indians. I hope y'all win, man. Appreciate that.
That's right.
As
That's
always,
right.
y'all can
Love it.
catch me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. Jimmy.
You can catch me at Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA at Jimmy Obama on Twitter. Big Mike.
And real quick, I'm your boy Big Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Hit me up. I hit you back. Keep the
That's
DMs rolling. Keep
Again,
them following rolling. We love it.
Appreciate all y'all who stopped by. Y'all have a great night, and we will
Appreciate
holler
y'all.
at y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Adios.